And now we come to the examination. It's important to develop a technique so that you feel comfortable and you also look professional. And there are a few things that need to be understood here. Examining eyes can be done via microscopy or photography, but in all cases one should begin with a live examination using either a microscope or a loupe and light. There are a few things to remember when making an examination, and the first thing is patient comfort. Strong lighting can cause a blind spot or the feeling of heat. So when using a torch for lighting, make sure that you never point it straight into the person's pupil, since this can cause a blind spot. I would like you to watch this short video on technique. Students often wonder about exactly what do they need to do to see an eye accurately. And there are two types of lighting that I recommend. The first type of lighting would be something like this one here, which is a 5x illuminated magnifier. And that gives me really good, perfect colour. So I want to, when I'm using my subject, I'm going to tell him where to look. And I'm going to usually point to this area in my forehead. So if you'd just like to look here for me, Paul. And then I'm going to put the light over his eye so I can get a good assessment of what the actual colour is. So Paul has mixed colour irises, and while I can see the colour very well, the structure doesn't show as well using a frontal lighting system. So I'm going to use a side light, and the side light will increase definition of structure because it's coming from the side. So this time I'm going to hold the light so that it doesn't blind him. And using that from the side, I have an excellent vision of his structural detail. Notice that I held my finger on his forehead, and that kept my hand steady, and it prevented me from accidentally bringing the bright light around to give him a blind spot. So using this method, just to recap, use a 5x illuminated magnifier to look for true colour, and follow that by using a side light to accurately assess the structure. So you see in that presentation that this light was used, and this has got lighting inside it. So when using this to assess true colour, you use the light in the torch. When you're using a side light, you turn this light off. You only need one point of lighting, but you're going to use the magnifying glass to see properly. You don't want to make disparaging comments. Sometimes it's fear and trepidation before they come to you for an analysis. So really, silence is golden, but don't be too silent, because then your client will wonder what the hell's going on. Why isn't she saying something? Is it all bad? So I like to make complimentary remarks when I'm looking at somebody's eye. You can see in this image here that each of the students is examining using light from the side and their little loupe, the same here, and also take an overall assessment. What stands out most? So when you're looking at a person's eye, generally the first time you have a look, something will jump out at you. So what stands out most in this image? Did you notice this white accumulation? What about in this eye? What really stands out to you? Did you notice the scurf ring? How about in this one? What really jumps out at you? Did you see the collarette? And lastly, what stands out most to you in this image? Did you see the pigmentation? These are simple rules, but I really like to keep it suitably simple, because really there is the possibility you could see 20 things in any person's eyes. But if something really jumps out at you, the chances are that your client has noticed that about their own eyes. And so they're probably going to ask you, what does this spot in my eye, what does this white ring in my eye mean? And hopefully you'll be able to tell them that. One of the other things that we need to just go over again is sometimes you'll need to use photographs when you're making an assessment, especially today everybody wants to do everything online. And although it's ideal that you make a personal assessment, if you have to do it through photography, it's really important that you understand which eye is which, since if you didn't know that, you could get your analysis completely wrong. Pupils should be located in a slightly medial position. So if the subject's pupil is shifted to your right, it is a right iris. And when shifted to your left, it is a left iris. So is this a right or a left eye? Did you notice that it is a right eye? Notice that the pupil is going towards your right. So we would imagine the nose is here. This is a right eye. And what about this one? Is this right or left? Did you say it was a right eye? Again, there is less space here than here. So the pupil is shifted to your right. It is a right eye. How about this one? Is this a right or a left eye? I hope you got that one correct. It's a left eye. Iridology does not name disease. It's not what we're looking for. We are not allowed to make a diagnosis unless we are a medical doctor. But what does it show? We can see genetic inheritance from the past 3 generations. We can also see potential nutritional imbalances and needs, tissue strength and weakness. We can see subclinical manifestations, and we can definitely see specific dispositions. Metabolic disturbances often show, as do primary nurture points. And we can see personality attributes as well. So, in summary, the iris is a revealer. It reveals our health profile, it reveals our inherited dispositions, and sometimes it reveals secrets.